Hello everyone. Now, you will hear a short retelling of the film The Servant. Enjoy watching. Ebeline Clark worked as a servant all her life. Like her mother, her grandmother was a slave. She has raised 17 white kids and knows perfectly well how to treat them, unlike their parents. Ebeline also cooks, irons, washes, and buys groceries. She gets 99 cents an hour for that. But of course, the main task is to look after the baby. It's good if Elizabeth takes her daughter in her arms at least once a day. She was too young to have a baby. But Skeeter Phelan is in no hurry to do this. A progressive girl came to get a job at a newspaper, but so far she has been assigned to answer readers' letters for $8 a week. Hilly Holbrook places toilet paper with a pencil for some reason. She is the first among the young girls of the Bridge Club to have a child. Everyone else just started imitating her. They have a Minnie cook working with their mother. Minnie is Ebeline's best friend. Today, they have to serve all the ladies from the Bridge Club who gathered at Elizabeth's house. Many friends complain that Miss Hilly puts toilet paper to find out if the maid uses the master's bathroom. Except she brings her paper from home. The young mothers were joined by Skeeter, who, unlike them, had been studying for the last 4 years. Skeeter bragged about getting a job.
4. Skeeter and her work. A haven before the wedding.
The girl asked Elizabeth for a favor so that her maid Ebeline would help with the answers to letters about the household. The fact is that her nanny quit. Celia Foote also needs the services of a maid. This lady once stole a guy from Hilly, who became her husband, and now she is not welcome at the Bridge Club. Hilly wants to go to the toilet, but she restrains herself.
She is upset that a black woman can go to the same guest toilet.
She would really like these blacks to do their business outside. She promotes the idea that every white family should have a separate toilet for black servants. Skeeter is uncomfortable with these conversations. She apologized to Ebeline for them. Elizabeth worries that her friend does not distract the maid much with her letters. She has to clean the silver tomorrow. Skeeter tries to find out from Mom why her babysitter Constantine left, but Charlotte doesn't want to talk about it. She is more worried that the rain is still without a man, so the news about the job in the newspaper did not please her. Charlotte just read the other day about girls who come up with strange thoughts.
Have you ever thought about girls or women? Oh my God.
The whole family gathered at the table. Only the father praised his daughter for her desire to work. Perhaps at least he will tell you what happened to Constantine. But the father also does not reveal the truth. They say she decided to go to her relatives. Skeeter guessed that her mother had simply fired a woman who had given 20 years of her life to this family. The girl remembers that it was Constantine who supported her in difficult moments. For example, when no one invited her to the dance, the guys thought Skeeter was ugly. Constantine nevertheless endured someone's mockery and advised the girl to simply ignore the fools. Skeeter called editor-in-chief Ellen Stein and said that she decided to write a book on behalf of black servants, women who raise white children but can't even go to the same toilet with their parents. Skeeter lied that she had already found a woman who was ready to tell the whole truth, but she just now came to Ebeline and asked her to share what it was like to be a black maid, to reveal all the secrets. But the woman does not agree. She understands perfectly well what can be done to her for this in a state like Mississippi. And then, Elizabeth told her friend that she was distracting Ebeline from performing her duties. Minnie really wants to go to the toilet, but there is a real storm outside. Miss Walters offers to go to the maid in their bathroom, but Hilly chases the woman into the downpour. Minnie ventured to use the master toilet. Hilly followed her.
What are you doing there? Then, from the toilet,
the rich woman immediately fired Minnie and left the house despite the bad weather. Elizabeth has already installed a separate toilet in the house for Ebeline. Little May says that she is her real mother. Skeeter is still trying to persuade Ebeline to help her with the book.
My cousin Chanel's car was burned. She just went to the polling station.
If the maid agrees, then her house will be burned. The woman is afraid. In the 60s, white nurses were not required to enter the wards where black people were lying. Books were exchanged only between readers of the same race, and anyone who called for red equality was subject to imprisonment. Hilly lied to all the neighbors that the mini thief and the maid decided to take revenge on her in some terrible way. Now she definitely won't find a job. Minnie's husband found out about this and took to beating her. In the church, the monk tells the flock that they need to be brave. This inspired Ebeline, as did what happened to her friend. So she invited Skeeter to her place. White people had never visited her before. How does it feel to raise a white child while someone else is looking after your son? Skeeter asked, but Abeli doesn't want to talk about it. The woman remembered how the first white child constantly asked why she was black, and she answered him because she drinks a lot of coffee. The new maid told Miss Hilly and her husband about her excellent children. She wants to send them to college, but she lacks $75 to pay for the education of both children. Yulmay asked to lend her this money, but Hilly only made fun of the maid. Minnie gives her daughter advice on how to serve the whites. For example, during cooking, you need to try everything with your personal spoon, and most importantly, never be impertinent to them. The husband took the girl out of school so that she would replace her mother, and the family would not go bankrupt. Minnie herself went to get a job with the outcast Seely Foot. This eccentric lady is not like the young bitches from the bridge club. She is friendly with Minnie, and even offered her a Coke. Celia had already been rejected by 5 maids, so at first she couldn't even believe her ears when Minnie agreed to work for her. However, there is one caveat. The husband must think that this Celia is doing so well with the household. Therefore, Minnie must come and go at certain hours so as not to catch his eye. At the bridge club, the ladies discuss all sorts of nonsense, as well as Healy's initiative about toilets for blacks. But Skeeter puts a stick in her wheels. A friend tells her that a certain steward is due to arrive one of these days, with whom Skeeter can do something. One day, Yulmay found a gold ring behind the sofa, but did not return it to the hostess, but put it in her pocket. Abelin tells the writer how much Elizabeth doesn't care about her daughter. The baby still sleeps in a diaper, and is not changed for 10 hours, until Ebeline comes in the morning. But Elizabeth is pregnant again.
Miss Leafold should not have had children. Write it down.
Minnie came to a friend, and was surprised to see a white girl. She doesn't think Skeeter can help them in any way, she would rather harm the blacks. But it took her 5 seconds to change her mind and join the conspirators. Minnie turned out to be much more talkative and sarcastic than her friend. She talked about arrogant white ladies until the morning. Mom, meanwhile, bought a Skeeter iron, and the girl was impressed with the result. The Cadillac was taken by her brother, so Skeeter went on a date in a truck. She appeared, however, all disheveled and sweaty, so Hilly had to resuscitate her hairstyle, but it wasn't worth it. The much-praised Stuart turned out to be a drunkard and an arrogant brute. Skeeter did not tolerate rudeness, and went home. Minnie teaches Celia cooking, and shares various tricks on home economics. The maid is shocked that the rich woman dines with her at the same table, and she would also like Celia to tell her husband about her. The editor really liked the Skeeter material, but 2 stories is too little, we need at least a dozen more. But the friends have already interviewed 30 maids, and none of them agreed. They are afraid. Suddenly, Ebeline confessed that her son, when he was working at a construction site, was hit by a white foreman on a truck. He threw it out at the hospital, honked his horn and drove away. The guy was not saved. The woman asks the writer not to give up, and continue the work, in memory of her son. Elizabeth mocks her daughter, she thinks she is fat and ugly. While no one sees, Skeeter turned to May, but the woman does not want to risk the future of her children. Hilly warns her friend that if real racists find out that she is hanging out with blacks, then she will not be well, and insists that Skeeter finally print her toilet initiative. In the morning, the girl was woken up by an excited mother. Stuart came to them, and Skeeter, according to her, is obliged to do everything to charm him. Stuart apologized for his behavior. His fiancée left him a year ago, and he wasn't ready for dating yet, but his friends insisted. Skeeter also admitted that she had never met anyone. Stuart got interested, and invited a girl to dinner, who always says what she thinks.
You're disgusting.
Stuart first praised the way the girl writes, and then called her smart and beautiful, so their date ended with a kiss. Skeeter had to print an ad for old coats to be brought to Hilly's house, and she distributed them to the poor. But she proved racist by replacing the word coat with toilet bowls. Little May immediately took advantage of one of them. For this, Elizabeth severely beat her daughter. Ebeline began to reassure the girl, calling her beautiful, intelligent, and priceless. The movement for the rights of blacks is gaining momentum in the States, but Southerner Charlotte does not want to hear about it. Reverend and Ebeline were dropped off the bus. A black man had just been shot. Ebeline hid at the Mini, and found out that the doll from the clan had been killed by a well-known activist. Minnie worries that the same thing could happen to them if someone finds out about what they are doing. The country was overwhelmed by a wave of crimes committed on the basis of racial hatred. Celia locked herself in the toilet and sends Minnie home. She got excited and knocked down the door. It turned out that the woman had a miscarriage. This is not the first time this has happened, and Silas' husband really wants a child. She didn't tell John about her pregnancy and the last 3 miscarriages. He might leave her. Celia buried the child in the yard. When Elm got off the bus, the police were already waiting for her. Ebeline screams at her not to resist, and the cop hits her on the back with a baton. Hilly watched this from the car, and then told her friends how this thief showed up at the pawnshop with her ring. The dark-skinned bartender asked Skeeter to urgently go home to Kabalin. She gathered all the maids who, after the incident with Yuma, wanted to tell their stories. Celia and her pie ventured into the bridge club. Hill ordered everyone to shut up and hide under the tables. Celia looked in the window and saw the laughing ladies. She understood everything and burst into tears and ran to the car. It was only now that Celia learned from Minnie the reason for their hatred. But after all, she began dating John after they broke up with Hilly. She doesn't steal suitors. The girl feels sorry for Minnie, whom her husband once again beat up badly. In her place, she would have hit a man with a frying pan and sent him to hell. Minnie finally decided to tell her friends what she had done with Hilly. She came to the red-haired bitch's house and fed her a pie stuffed with her feces. In general, she didn't want to tell the rich woman about it, but she couldn't resist and immediately threw up. Miss Walter laughed to tears, and for this, Hilly sent her mother to a nursing home. This story could be insurance for them if Skeeter publishes it, because Hilly will deny to the last that this story is about her, and that it even happened in this city. The rich organized a charity evening in support of African children. Celia came here. The eyes of all husbands are riveted on her cleavage. All evening, the woman does not let go of the glass of alcohol. Today, the mini chocolate cake was recognized as the best at the baking contest, and it went to Mrs. Hilly. A drunken Celia came up to her to explain about her husband, but instead tore her dress. Hilly took her aside and began to threaten her. She is sure that Minnie told her about that chocolate cake and threatened her to keep her mouth shut. Immediately, Celia vomited on the floor in front of everyone. The next day, Minnie told the lady why Hilly attacked her. The story of the pie with an unusual filling struck Celia. 260 pages of text were printed. Skeeter has only to add her personal story. And she came to her mother to find out what had happened to her nanny Constantine. Charlotte tells how during an important reception, her daughter Constantine showed character and entered the house. When the hostess closed the door in her face, other ladies reproached Charlotte with the fact that her servants had completely disbanded, and the woman had pointedly dismissed the old maid in front of everyone. Charlotte regretted her action, and the next day, crossed Constantine, but by that time she had already moved out. Skeeter was going to go to Chicago for a babysitter, but her brother already wanted her back. However, it was too late. She died.
You broke her heart. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Soon Skeeter's book was printed. The girl received $600 for it and divided the money among all the maids who helped her. The book fell into the hands of Miss Stewart, and when she came to the story of the pie, she immediately advised her daughter to read it. With Stewart angry at Skeeter because of the book, and even dumped the girl, fearing future problems associated with her. Gradually, the scandalous work was read by all residents of the city, and many recognized themselves in the heroes. Most of all, readers were excited, of course, by the story about the shit pie. What is it, honey? As Minnie had hoped, Hilly denies that this book is about their town. Angry, she got drunk and came to Skeeter. The rich woman is going to sue the writer and destroy the maids.
Careful, Hilly, there's chapter 12. You can't get away from it. It wasn't me.
Hilly decided to complain to Charlotte about her daughter, but the woman assumed that the bitch just ate too much chocolate cake and drove her away. Charlotte has cancer. She is getting worse every day, but she felt calmer because she managed to reconcile with her daughter. She is proud of Skeeter, who was hired by a major publication. One day, John did catch Minnie going shopping to his house. The woman thought that now she would be killed. But John, on the contrary, is grateful to the maid. She literally saved Celia. She felt much better when Minnie started working for them. He immediately guessed everything as soon as the fried chicken was on the table. He and his wife prepared a surprise for the Minnie and set a festive table. To prepare all this, Celia did not even sleep at night. The couple promise that Minnie can work here all her life, if of course she wants to. This gave the woman strength, and she, taking the children, left her tyrant husband. In the church, Ebeline was greeted with applause. Everyone is grateful to her for what she has done for black citizens. Skeeter wanted to refuse to go to New York, but Ebeline convinced the girl that she could do a lot more there. Besides, she has only enemies left here. She will simply be hunted down, and she and Minnie will take care of each other. Hilly was waiting at Elizabeth Ebeline's house. The bitch accused her of stealing cutlery that she gave to a friend. Hilly can't put the maid in jail for what she wrote, but she can throw her behind bars for theft just like her maid. Only Evelyn, in turn, can write a letter from prison, and everyone will know the truth about the pie. She asked Hilly if she was tired of being such a terrible person. Elizabeth drove the maid away to them, and was left without her mother. Eveline asks the girl not to forget that she is smart, kind, and priceless.
Don't hurt my girl.
May became the last child of Evelyn, but the woman does not regret that her life changed in one moment. She told the truth, and only then did she feel free.